you might have seen one of the videos of my lovely co-host, Niels Park. He has been using deep research for a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm super jealous. So I need to record one video of my own. Obviously, no. The point here is, I really, as also a GPT Pro user, I was pretty amazed with deep research. I didn't use it as much as I initially thought I would until 2 days ago. In the context of doing an investment, we in the Netherlands have something called a holding company, which is a holdco. I think everyone kind of refers to it in this sense, which could be really efficient for tax reasons, right? You don't have to pay income tax on returns. You do obviously still pay tax, but it can be more tax efficient, especially if you're going to reinvest whatever's in the holding. Now, given the question, if I want to invest in a U.S. Delaware based company, just a normal startup using a safe, which is a very common instrument to invest through, should I, if I want the most efficient tax route, should I do that from a holding company in the Netherlands or personally? If I'm expected to go to the US in around a year and I'll go for around 2 to 3 years. This whole scenario is not exactly the same as mine, but it is close enough. And what I found remarkable, um, I'm not going to shit on all bookkeepers here, but it takes a while for them to get back to you at times. And that's also because some of these questions are just very complex, right? In this case, I was in a hurry. So I was like, I need to have the answer in 24 hours, and that wasn't possible. So I was okay, what do I do now? They'll likely do their work well, but I'll have to pay a fair amount for them to do this, like evaluate this very specific case. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to just see what deep research comes up with. So what I did, which is exactly what I'm going to walk you through, is the following. I have a big ass prompt that I generated by just speaking into, yes, my phone is called iPhoney. Just speaking into GPT, and let's remove the first bit. So I basically told it, hey, generate a prompt for me. This is kind of the situation that I just explained. We have a fictive holding company. It has 50,000 euros in cash, and we have 30,000 euro in our personal savings. We're considering doing an investment of $5,000 into a Delaware C Corp through a safe. Basically everything that I just explained to you. We're going to say, deep research, help me with figuring out what the most tax efficient way is to do this. And mind you, if I were to have asked my bookkeeper, I would have waited a longer time. Potentially, you would miss these opportunities. And I would have paid him a lot of money. The thing with these kind of obviously you shouldn't do this for super essential and navigating super essential tax situations, right? You have to obviously look into the total impact or cost that you could run into. But really, if it is an overseeable risk you're taking, but you do need to have really good information and you don't want to rely on others you don't want to wait for others and pay them by the hour in certain cases, this really does make a lot of sense. Here we get some additional questions. Okay, so this is an interesting hypothetical scenario. Let's see what the research comes up with. I was surprised, by the way, that initially I only answered one question, pressed enter, and then it was eager enough to just start the research, which, Mr. People of OpenAI, perhaps there's something you can fix there. But I already love the fact that it asks questions. I was actually quite surprised because it's really not common for an LLM to ask you questions like this. It's pretty cool. I like it. Or at least the typical LLM experience that you get from Claude and GPT. See you in a sec when the research is done. All right. I think we are done. Let's see. Boom. Dutch taxation before moving to the US is a lot of text, so I'm not going to go through all of it. But for Dutch individuals, it falls in the box 3 savings. This is all correct, but let's just try to skip through the conclusion and give you an idea of what I gained from this. Recommendation, BV versus personal, which is more tax efficient. Considering all the compliance, investing personally in your name is likely to be more tax efficient than simpler approach for 5,000. Minimal Dutch tax personally. Your investment falls in box 3, meaning the Netherlands won't tax actual gains, only a modest wealth tax. And this is correct. So the thing is, because of this certain similarity in terms of a box 3 investment definitely being something that, in a sense, we oftentimes will have to deal with if you invest in any form, whether it's crypto or stocks or, in this case, a safe. These investments in the Netherlands, if you're Dutch, they fall under box 3, and this is all relevant stuff. This is true. And generally, deep research might not be as eloquent or as deep, as the name might imply, as a real researcher. But when it comes to these kind of things, where again, the risk surface is not huge, the impact is not massive, but it's still an interesting, it's a relevant thing to research, right? You need to get some insight that will help you avoid risk. Um, Here we go. Yeah. Controlled foreign corporation. I also, like, I did my own research beforehand, and a lot of this is correct as far as I can see. Sized up all the US anti-deferral regimes. Yeah, you kind of like escape the whole CFC thing. If circumstances change, decide not to move or you move to a third country, the personal investment remains simple to manage tax-wise. The BV route ties you into the Dutch corporate sphere. It might complicate matters if you move somewhere else. Dutch company while living perhaps a different country and using another tax jurisdiction to consider. Also true. Legal administrative without a BV in your husband. Maintaining a company, not even Dutch accounts or the BV books. Restructuring options. Here. Exit tax. Yeah, this is actually going to happen. So here you see, like, there's a lot of relevant information it found. Shareholders when emigrating, and this is true. Extra taxation and emigration of a director or major shareholder. Let's see. And what is nice is that you obviously can then double check the sources. Is it actually correct? It's the immigration of censor interest holder. Major shareholder immigrants to Germany. Right. So these are things that are very relevant, right? And you can see here that it is not going to, like, I will need to ask some follow-up questions, but this will take me personally. Let's be realistic here. I do the research, I wait, it will take me half an hour to 45 minutes to get like some relevant answer, I suppose. Um, I think that's worth it. Like it saves me money and time again. So this is a great example, I think, of how using deep research can really help you in practical ways. And I am really going to try and see if I can find more of these use cases that, because this is kind of the road that I'm on, right? Like I'm paying for this plan and I want to figure out, like, is it worth it? Is it worth the $200? So far, I think in 1 month, it has saved me more than $200. So yes, it's worth it. We'll see if it still holds the next month. If I somehow run into a month that it's not worth it and I cancel, then I still have to pay $200 before the subscription expires, and I'll have lost that. But that's a max loss. And I think the funny part is, like, I will make back not exactly $200 on this investment monthly. I will potentially sometimes make back a few thousand. It's going to be an interesting evaluation in the long run, because if several years from now it turns out that this decision was a bad one, for example, it could cost you a lot. So then it's an expensive subscription, but it could also actually save you a lot. And then in that sense, it's a very good ROI in a $200 investment. So here we go. Let's see how it goes. I hope this was to some extent useful. And if you have any other thoughts, questions, maybe you would like me to try something with deep research or Nils, let us know. Cheers.